So let me show you how setbacks and failures, God can still turn it around to put you in your rightful place where He intended you to be. So I remember I was, every time I ever had a job, I was always put in a training position. However, I never had the title, right? It's like almost like they self-assign the person, like their employee that does the most or their employee that goes over and beyond. They always like promote them without promoting them into being the trainer for a new person, the trainer for a new person on a team, the trainer for the new person that's in the department, even though technically that's what a supervisor or a manager is supposed to do. So I'm getting all these jobs, and I didn't realize that I was getting like this was happening to me. Mind you, prior to me getting all these jobs, my heart always wanted was to be an entrepreneur, right? And that hope kind of faded when certain things happened in my life. And instead of breathing life into that situation, it was like the life was snuffed out of me when it came to entrepreneurship. But that's something else. And so finally, I was in this place. I was starting to understand my worth. I realized what really did it for me was I was hired at this place for a supervisor position, and I didn't get the supervisor position because in my interview I was not confident, as well as they asked me what my worth was. And that was my first time ever getting that type of question, and I bombed it. I gave them a low salary, and they knew that it was low, so I guess they equated that to I would not be able to do my job efficiently, right? And so I still get hired because God utilized somebody, the medical director, to be able to hire me, saying that they wanted me regardless, that even though I didn't get the supervisor position. So I'm in the position, and do y'all not know they hire the supervisor, and guess who's training the supervisor? Me. Talk about a slap in the face. And so I still stay at the job. I try to learn as much as I can to the best of my ability about a lot of things, right? So, I still kind of have a chip on my shoulder. So I was like, okay, now that I see they do that, I'm going to just focus on college at this point. So I'm like, I'm going to just focus on finishing school, etc., etc. So I end up being at this same place. I end up meeting someone who end up going into corporate. And I still kept in contact with them because I was the person like, if I go somewhere, I'm going to network. I'm going to network. I'm going to talk to people. It may not mean that I'm going to always like vibe with people, but I'm going to network. So I end up finding that person, and I end up getting into corporate because of this person, because I kept in contact. Once again, here's the setback. I did not get into the department that that person worked for. I end up getting into a subsidiary, right? When you have like parent companies and then you got the children companies, I end up getting into the children company, like a subsidiary. So I still have this goal in mind. I said, okay, God, you got me into the door. I'm gonna have to do another like video on this, because if I show y'all the hoops to get into this corporate, but whatever. I get into the door and my mindset is, okay, God, I got into the door. I'm going to do my best to stay in my position until I could get promoted, or until I could apply for a position in a department that I really wanted. So I end up getting the position in the department that I really wanted, is where the person that was at. The minute I move into that department, that person, they move away. And so I'm like, man, the person that got me into the door, now they're not there. Now I'm on my own, for real, in this department. To put it into perspective, I got into a department that was heavily driven by practitioners, heavily driven by high medical, like nurse practitioners, nurses, doctors, directors, VPs. Like it was heavy driven with big titles, right? And I ain't got that but a small little title. And so I worked in that department as much as I could until I became a team lead. To get a team lead was another setback. Prior to that even step back, the people didn't like me. The people at the top that was in my location didn't like me. However, remember I said I was a networker? Somehow, some way, I knew to network with other people in other departments in other locations. And so, even with me being a team lead, God orchestrated for an open door for me, so that it did not, the people within my location would not be the one to be interviewing me, and it would be the other people that I networked with to interview me. From there, a corporate trainer. When I say I have, it literally got every setback and failure was a way for him to turn it around to say, I'm still going to place you exactly where I need you to be so that you can learn what you need to learn for the future. I left corporate. I went to be a training for something else, right? Something in government. Left that to do training again for kind of back to corporate. When I say I would have never thought God would use all of these skills to train me to be where I'm at, where He's like, Angela, I want you to minister the gospel. I would have never thought in a million years. Mind you, guys, I ain't want nothing to do with the church. I ain't want nothing to do with ministry. After what I saw the churches did to my mother, count me out. After I saw people in the bloodline like abuse their authority, people outside of the bloodline abuse their authority on the pulpit, absolutely not. But let me say how he pulled something out of me that the enemy was attacking. So it was like the whole time he's like, I'm using all of these things because eventually you're going to train people. Eventually you're going to coach people. Eventually you're going to minister to people. Eventually you're going to get specialized in something and you're going to be able to bring them back. Because as a trainer, like, I kind of hate how corporate do training now in a lot of places because they mix training with curriculum creation and curriculum development together, which is not the same art. It is not the same language. There are some people who are fantastic trainers, fantastic facilitators, fantastic moderators. Doesn't mean that their grace is curriculum development and developing content and developing policies and manuals. There are some people like that's their niche. Nowadays they're putting them together because they don't want to pay that money. But anyways, it's so I just wanted to show you guys how God can utilize setbacks. Felt like, you want to know why I love the story of Joseph and Genesis, towards the end of Genesis, because majority of that, it mimicked what I was going through in my own personal life. I love the story of Esther. I love the story of Daniel because these are things like I literally had to battle. So it is so funny. God will use those setbacks and those failures to put you right back in the divine place where He have called you. I hope this encouraged you, and I'm sorry that I was so long-winded. Love you.